Barlow Creations. If you're new to my channel and you're stopping by for the first time, thank you for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. Stick around a while by clicking that red button for more crafting on a budget, more everything on a budget videos to come. And if you click it again when the bell appears, YouTube should notify you every time I'm uploading a new video, depending on what option you choose in the drop-down menu of the bell. If you're interested in following me on social media, you can find those links in the description box below. What have I got going on for you for today? Today, I am bringing to you a different kind of DIY because I am in need of repairing my leather office chair. This is a leather office chair that I bought from Costco, I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, and it wasn't a cheap one. I would say I paid about $300 or $400 for this chair. It's a really nice chair. It's got the wood base to it. It's got the full leather arms and the full leather seat. But sadly, over the last 5 or 6 years, the leather from sitting in it and the use of it has started to tear and kind of rip away, and there were pieces missing, and the chair just really started to not look very appealing. It was a chair that I was feeling like, okay, do I need to put a blanket over this? That doesn't look good. I started sitting on a towel because it was flaking off so much, and I just thought to myself, like, my word, I hate to have to buy a new chair because the leather is peeling off when the chair itself is in great condition, and to spend another $400 or $500 on another chair is just frustrating to me. And I just thought, like, you know, I'm gonna see if there's a way that I can patch up leather. Is there a leather paint? And I researched it a bit on Google, and I found that Amazon carried a leather paint. And it was fairly inexpensive, way more inexpensive than buying a new chair. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna see how this works, and I'm gonna bring it to you all as I do it. I've already done the DIY on this chair, and I'll tell you now, I am happy with the outcome of the leather paint. I think that it did what I needed it to do. I ended up buying 2 different colors because the chair that I have is a dark, rich brown. Surprise, surprise there. And the only colors that Amazon had were just basic colors. They had a basic kind of a milk chocolate brown, and I knew that that was gonna be too light for the repair, so I went ahead and bought a black leather paint as well to mix the two and darken up that brown a bit. I'll link both the paints in the description box below, what I used in my Amazon store, and so if you're interested in it, you can click on it and you can choose your colors after seeing this video if you like the outcome that I've come out with this chair, if that makes any sense. But let's get into it. Let me show you the process that I used in repairing my chair and how it turned out. I'm gonna show you some before and after pictures of it, and you be the judge. And so let's jump into it and let me show you how great this leather paint works. Okay, so this is my chair before I did anything. You can tell that it is in pretty rough condition, and this really did happen over a span of 5 or 6 years, which I find to be a little disappointing because when you buy a leather chair, you kind of think that when you pay the amount of money that I paid for it, that it should last a bit longer than 5 or 6 years. But it didn't, and I don't want to buy a new one, so this is what I'm gonna use. This acrylic leather paint by Angelus. I bought 2 bottles, one of each, in a rich brown and a black. They're 4-ounce bottles. I only used 1 bottle of each. I got these on Amazon. The brown was $6.90, the black was $7.15, so for under $15 in leather paint, that is a fantastic buy. When I decided to mix the brown and the black just to make this brown a bit richer and darker, I used the whole bottle of brown, and little by little, I added the black paint to it to darken it up, to get it to the brown that I needed. I didn't want to go with the whole bottle and be too heavy-handed because if it went too dark, I wouldn't be able to lighten it up. And so you can see that I just kept adding a bit of black, mixing it until I got the color that I was happy with. So I've got my brown mixed. I'm happy with the color that I've got. I will tell you, you want to make a bigger batch than needed because you don't want to have to go back if you run out of paint and remix your colors and hope that you get the same color. So when mixing colors to achieve a specific color that you need, you really kind of want to make sure that you maybe do more of a batch than needed, so that way you don't have to go back and remix colors together. As I started to paint my base coat, which was my first coat of paint onto the chair, I started to notice pretty quickly on that the fabric that the leather is actually adhered to, this gray fabric under the leather. I'm sorry if I don't know the correct terminology, but I started to notice that it was really absorbing the paint pretty quickly. And I was a little bit worried, thinking, okay, this doesn't seem to be really adhering, it's just absorbing. But I did notice that this paint dries pretty quickly, and after this first coat started to dry, there was a different type of finish left. It was kind of like a plastic or a satiny finish. And so as I started to see that, I started to realize that, okay, any of the coats that I do after this initial coat aren't going to absorb through this fabric. And so I continued on. I wasn't real heavy-handed on the first coat because I wasn't real sure how far this paint was gonna go. And so I really just kind of stuck to doing the fabric and patching itself. The base coat took about 20 to 30 minutes to dry. This stuff really dries fast. So going into the second coat, I knew that I wanted to be a bit more heavy-handed with the paint. I wanted to build up those areas that the leather was missing to try and even out where the leather was missing to where the leather was. I wasn't real sure if I was going to be able to do this, but I knew that when I had gone a bit heavy-handed on the base coat, that this paint really dried out very evenly and very smoothly. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to build these areas up and see if I go a bit thicker, if it will still dry smooth and kind of even itself out. And so that's what I'm doing for this second coat here. Because I was getting a bit impatient because I was really liking the results that I was seeing after the second coat, I decided to pull out my heating tool to kind of help speed up the drying process just a bit more. And you can see the areas that are flat. Those are the dry areas. This paint is so easy to work with. It just kind of is like a self-healing type paint, I guess is the only way that I know how to articulate it. As it dries, it just really kind of smooths out. Those elevated areas are the wetter areas still, but I tell you, this paint is really easy to work with and it is amazing. My second coat is just about dry, so I'm gonna go in for the third coat. Even though it's not completely dry, I have plenty of paint left. And so because this is my third coat, I decided I'm gonna go in a bit more heavy-handed. I'm gonna go in thicker with the paint and really try to build up those areas where the leather was missing. I really kind of wanna make the transition from the leather to the patched areas as smooth as I can, as even as I can. And so I just decided, you know what? This paint is drying amazing. It's really smoothing itself out. So I'm gonna try going a bit thicker. This chair was in bad shape anyway, so I wasn't gonna ruin it any more than it already was. And so for 25 bucks, I figured if this doesn't work, so be it. But if it does, I just fixed a $400 chair for the bargain price of $25. And so like I said, I'm gonna go in thick. You can see in my bowl that I still have plenty of paint left. And I'm really gonna try and build these areas up by putting on a thicker coat of paint. I ended up doing a total of 5 coats on the areas that needed to be patched. And I tell you, I still had plenty of paint left. So I decided to paint over the entire seat of the chair just to even out the color and really make it all one color. And even after painting the entire seat, I still had paint left over. And so I gave the entire seat a second coat of paint, and that about did me in for what was left of the paint. Now for the last step, you are gonna need to seal your leather paint. And so for this, I am using the matte acrylic finisher by Angelus that was actually meant to go with this paint. This is a thinner type of paint, I guess you could say, and this really did make all the difference. This kind of filled in a lot of the areas. I went over this, I think I gave it about 2 or 3 coats just to use what I had. And they've got different finishes. If you want a gloss or a semi-gloss, you can choose those finishes. I went with the matte because I just didn't want my chair to be shiny. And so you can see that just putting this on, if you put too much, it will drip. a little goes a long way. And so I just kind of worked it into the leather. If there were dripping marks, I went over those just to smooth them out a bit. And this too dried pretty quickly. I went over the entire seat of my chair with this, and I was able to give this 3 coats with the bottle that I had, and I still had leftover sealer. Seriously, would you look at that? I could not be more happy with the outcome of this. This Angelus leather paint is amazing. I cannot believe how well it worked, how well it patched up the leather. This was the arm of my chair, and you can't even tell that it was patched because the outcome is so great. The seat of this chair was horrendous. I mean, really, I felt like it needed to be trashed. And after using $25 in Angelus product, look at the seat. The color is great. It matched perfectly. I couldn't be more happy with the outcome of this. And honestly, I feel like this is a fantastic way to patch up leather. I tell ya, I am really happy with the outcome of this paint, how it works. I will tell you that it has been about 3 months since I filmed the DIY part of this chair, actually repairing the chair. And honestly, the paint has not chipped, it has not cracked, it has not peeled anywhere. I am really happy with the outcome and how it is holding up. I did that on purpose, waiting just a bit so I could really see how it held up, because I knew that some of you would ask, how does it hold up over time? And I wanted to be able to really sit in the chair and use it like I did every day. And over the last 3 months, it has held up perfectly. When I clean the chair, I do use a leather cleaner, and so that probably helps as well. But there really has been no peeling of the paint, and I am very satisfied with the outcome. I think it was the alternative that I needed, so I didn't have to buy a new chair. And I think that if there's a spot maybe on a leather couch that you might have that you don't want to get worse, this is definitely a good option to repairing that. I hope you all found today's video informative and you enjoyed today's DIY of me repairing my leather chair. Please give this video a thumbs up, and let's get this video to 5,000 likes, because each and every one of those thumbs up, like I always say, it really helps my channel to grow and it helps YouTube to notice me just a bit more. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy everything on a budget, and bye for now, everybody.